John Anik and Kenny Florian podcast. John Anik and Kenny Florian.
I f***ing love them. I can't get enough of them.
Let's hear that Boston next.
Big jab there from Duffy, and Frank Mir is hurt now. Down goes Duffy, out cold. Frank Mir does it again. Rock'em sock'em robots here. Oh my goodness.
Hyperbole. There are a couple of absolutely self-involved bullshit artists.
Here are your hosts, John Anik and Kenny Florian.
Next shot, bang.
Oh, are we here to solve any sort of case of the Mondays? Get out your Dixon Ticonderoga #2 pencils. Great to have everybody with us. And if you're live on YouTube, we appreciate the heck out of that. It's Monday, November 3rd, 2025. Episode 574 of the Anik and Florian podcast, brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Ken Flo, you look young. You look great. You look like you had a good weekend. You a Halloween guy or no?
A little bit of a Halloween guy. Yeah, went trick-or-treating with the kids, kind of tailed them a little bit and walked around the neighborhood. It was fun.
I have a lot of Christmas spirit, especially for a Jewish man. Tons of it, actually. Not a Halloween guy, incidentally. I dress up. But back in the Northeast, feeling that crispy wind.
Yeah.
It was something. But we have a lot to get into. We have talked over the course of almost 11 years on this podcast, 574 episodes, about mixed martial arts as a sport. When you have a podcast, it is the gift that keeps on giving. And think about all the things we have to talk about, from a UFC fight night that largely could be described as a pedestrian live event, and it gives us just all this meat, right? Coming up in about an hour, we will talk to the man of the hour, Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. Ken Flo thinks this kid is absolutely legitimate. We're very excited to talk to Mean Machine. We got Ray Longo on the screws of 11:30 a.m. Eastern coming up in about 27 minutes. We will also get into the next UFC fight night. Nice to see the Nardu Deborah-trained Rude Boy, Randy Brown, getting a main event for the first time in the UFC. So we'll talk about that. Boston Anik coming up in about 5 minutes, talking Gable, Steveson, and dirty boxing. Ken Flo, before we get into the proceedings here today, as you can see, I am back in the Florida studio. I came down to visit my mother. I was going to call her my aging mother, right? She's not aging. I mean, we're all aging, right? It's like she is sharp as a tack, right? But I was going to describe her as I came down to see my aging mother, because maybe I thought it would be funny. But I'm down in Florida, and I'm in what is now Jason Anik's studio. I paid for all of this equipment, right? But I got all the bells and whistles again, Ken Flo. And I am thinking that because Anik versus Anik no longer exists as a podcast, with respect to Boston Garden Rap, the theme song for the Anik and Florian podcast, I'm thinking we consider stealing this theme song for Anik versus, for the Anik and Florian podcast. Welcome in episode 570 fucking more of the Anik and Florian podcast, brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
It's got a good beat.
We got all the bells and whistles,
Stiff as a board.
Oh, man.
Just having a little fun here off the top of the show. I haven't had these toys, Kenny, in a long time.
I like the background, dude. I like the background.
Because I'm the real article. What you see is what you get.
Oh, you can bring Jason Anik in here. I'm sorry. So that John Candy soundbite from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, there's a John Candy documentary out.
Yes,
that
on Amazon.
See. I haven't seen it yet. Dirty Boxing Zone, Jason Anik at Boston Anik now joins us live, playing with the toys over here in the other room.
Yeah, well, it's funny. How's my audio, first of all?
It's all right. It's not great. Kind of like Dirty Boxing's audio. Everything else was fantastic.
Let's make sure that my sound is good first. Is that getting any better?
Yeah, it is. I think it's good
it sounds
enough.
good. Yeah.
Gentlemen, did you guys retweet the live show yet?
No, we'll do that now. You want people to watch us live?
Do that now, please. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And John,
now you're popping and cracking, you know? I have two #2 pencils. I'm about to break one in half because of your audio. Go ahead.
How's that?
Good.
That
I'm going
sounds
to
good.
tweet out the live show, but how's it going, man? Playing sick in Nashville, huh? Thank God you're tough, right?
So, Kenny, the hair looks great.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
So, yeah, I felt a little tickle in my throat early in the week. And
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it was, I got through it is all I'll say. But Kenny, you know me well enough to know if you watch it back, I mean, I didn't have a voice. And I will say what I won't do in the future is host podcasts during the week about football. But, ceremonial weigh-ins, I cranked my voice a good deal, but made it through it. But I used to sing on stage and perform a lot. I've never had something where I had this little a voice going in, right? And post-fight interviews. I mean, I really had nothing, but we made it through.
Dang. John, you haven't had any issues like that, have you?
So that's the only reason I bring it up, because people certainly don't want to bring violins out, for commentators, right? The sickest I ever was for, I think, UFC 295, Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira at Madison Square Garden.
Ooh.
The UFC. And then there was a Bellator show back in the day where I felt like I was Ken Flo staring death in the face. Never a vocal thing, right? And I know people fall on different sides of the Tylenol discussion, but for many people, it's a miracle drug. And it certainly got me through UFC 295. I slept like all day, but I've never dealt with a vocal thing in 20 plus years like that. So
I don't remember. Yeah.
So Kenny, Brian Wright was in the coach's corner at DBX.
Okay.
And he told me some stories about Kenneth Florian's weight cuts, such as describing it as a purification of the soul, talking about never seeing anybody cut weight like Kenneth Florian, talking about Kenneth Florian grabbing a pillow, going into the sauna and saying, "I'll see you when I'm on weight."
That's probably accurate.
So if you don't know, Brian's a longtime coach, was added to the Dirty Boxing commentary team in the Dean Thomas role. But yes, I mean, Ken Flo's weight cutting trials and tribulations are truly the stuff of legend. You see, I say this all with a straight face as he laughs, but Kenny's bone density, right, is such that, making that weight twice was a Herculean effort. But anyway, brutal. So I'd like to quickly talk about Gable Steveson before we get to Mean Machine Steve Garcia. Right. So, yeah, I mean, Kenny, I think what's nice when you knock somebody out in 15 seconds is that the whole combat sports world can ingest the highlight. But, Jay, you were with Gable Steveson in Nashville all week. Mick Maynard was there for the proceedings. What'd you think of this guy, live and in color?
He's 25 years old, and the resume at 25, 5-time All-American wrestler, Olympic gold medalist. I'm just blown away. I think I might be most blown away at his jump out of the ring post-fight. This dude's just an absolute freak athlete. He appeared in LFA back in September, and I hate to say it, Kenny, I sound like a novice, martial artist or martial arts fan, but he jumped off the screen at LFA with his strikes. He did get that fight to the ground, finished with ground and pound, but he was going against a guy named Billy Swanson, who was in the best shape of his career. Certainly not the gifted athlete that Gable is, but Gable's just absolutely so fast and ferocious. It's a super small sample. It was an incredible night, but you can be sure I think he's ready for the big show.
Yeah, he's a freak, man. I mean, when I go out there and see this wrestler and you're like, well, he's probably going to lean on his takedowns, right? Who's going to be able to stop those takedowns? And I don't think a lot of people will be. But now you see him execute, at a pretty high level with his striking already at 25 years old, not too, far along in his MMA career. And you know that this guy is a special kind of athlete. And again, that was one of those knockouts where I was like, that was scary. Like, I was legitimately scared. I'm like, I hope that guy gets up.
And everybody's talking about, they're giving Gable a can. How about Gable getting into a rule set in a blink where he cannot go to the canvas, he wanted to prove to himself some things about hands. Mick Maynard's right there, and he was very adamant, saying he doesn't think John Jones would have allowed him to do this if Jones didn't think he was
right.
That's not hyperbole.
Yeah. Reports are Mick Maynard woke up with sore cheeks from just grinning ear to ear at the thought of Gable Steveson in the UFC. And you got to think that is not only an eventuality, but something we could see in the maybe immediate future, right? I mean, Jay, I know for you, it was thrilling to get the chance to call that fight, and who knows if we'll see him back in DBX, right? I mean, his next fight, I think, is not going to be for the DBX heavyweight championship against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. I don't know that John Jones would necessarily sign on the dotted line for that. But Kenny, I'll throw this to you, right? The UFC's heavyweight division, if we talk pre-UFC 321, couldn't really get out of its own way. We talk about how infrequently the undisputed heavyweight championship has been on the line, and Stipe competing at 38 and then for the belt at 42, and John Jones's big gaps in competition, and Stipe and DC at the apex, and all of these things. And then UFC 321 happens, and you can see why Kenny McMaynard is ear to ear when he looks at an athlete like this who projects to be a heavyweight contender in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, they don't come around very often, right? You get this Olympic gold medalist, a guy who has been elite in his sport, in his domain, and also not only a great wrestler, but a fantastic athlete. And why that's important is because there's a lot more to mixed martial arts than just wrestling, right? And especially now in 2025, they're gone are the years of 10, 15 years ago where you can dominate with just wrestling alone. Now, he might just be able to do that as well, but he's a guy that's getting better with his striking. He's getting out of his comfort zone, working his striking. As you can see, he has insane power. And I think with the right mentorship, which I think he has in place right now, I absolutely believe he can be a UFC world champion.
John, real quick, I know you may want to show this thing. But in terms of Gable Steveson and sort of a leap to the UFC, I think by no means it's too soon on any level, right? I think the UFC will be calculated with his next opponent, John. But I do think, while I'd love to see him stay in DBX, it's going to shock me if that move doesn't happen, as long as they can contractually make it happen. And John, real quick before you get this, he's married to the game. I know that may be an overused phrase, but he first put on gloves in June, has not had a single day expire off the calendar where he didn't put them on. He was going to train at midnight the night before the fight. He can't get enough, and that matters too.
Yeah. All right, we're going to show you this 15-second Gable Steveson fight here live on the Anik and Florian podcast. And by the way, surname 2 syllables, Steveson, Dirty Boxing in Nashville over the weekend. And here is the Steveson, highlight. The Big Tan, Dan Miragliotta in there for the main event, or so it appears.
Nice straight punches. Oh, the uppercut.
Hey, John. John, I did drop, not in this fight, but I did drop a knock him out the box, Rick, on the fight. You see that leap over the
dude? How about that plyometric jump there over the top rope like it was nothing?
Yeah.
Well, he did get back into the ring too,
dude.
With less of a running start.
Yeah,
he's an animal.
All right, Cody, thanks for chasing that highlight. Congrats to Gable Steveson. Certainly seems to be a pretty good egg as far as him as a human being as well. All right, let's dive into the mixed martial arts, if we could. Headlines is brought to you by Cuervo. Now's a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila. Steve Garcia, man. Kenny, Mean Machine, really an appropriate moniker for this guy. The left hand from hell. This guy's a real featherweight problem, and were it not for a logjam right now that is keeping even the likes of Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy seemingly from a championship setting, this guy's title shot worthy right now. What'd you make of Steve Garcia maximizing the main event showcase over the weekend?
He was absolutely dialed in at the right time. And, I'm always curious when I see a guy competing in a main event for the first time, wondering, how is he going to react to the lights, the attention, the more of the media requests, all that stuff, more on the line, more eyeballs. And boy, did he respond tremendously well. I think he knew that he had to get off to a good start. I can't wait to talk to him about that. But dialed it in with that jab, and from there he just took over. Never let Onama inside in the fight at all. Was tremendously accurate with his punches, with his strikes, with the variety of strikes, with his pressure. He dominated. He made it look easy against a guy who's a very good fighter, Onama. So he's ready for bigger names. I think that he's going to get that, and he's someone to watch, man. I was extremely impressed.
Yeah, you hit on a lot of nails. There's so many things that are different in the UFC Apex, right? I heard every utterance out of Mark Montoya and Yusuf Zalal out of that Factory X corner. And, it was a little bit of a listless performance from David Onama, right? Steve Garcia, Kenny, deserves a lot of the credit. Jay, I'll let you get in here in a second, right? But Kenny, I mean, gosh, you said it, right? Like, just took David Onama completely out of the fight. And there are two sides to this story. It was Onama's first headlining spot as well. And Garcia certainly is ready for prime time. And I don't know if Onama wasn't, or if Garcia is just that good and that dangerous. I don't know. But yeah, what did you make of Onama just wide-eyed, kind of right out of the chute?
For me or Jay? Sorry.
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that it's a great sign because I didn't see any jitters. I just saw a guy who was a cold, calculated killer out there. And that's always good. Those are the kind of guys that you can rely on also as an organization to say, all right, let's give this kid some bigger names and let's see how he does. But I think he's been taking the right steps at the right time. But anytime you're in a main event, you never know how someone's going to respond. There's a lot of pressure in there, and he acted like there wasn't a lot of pressure. Like it was a matter of fact that he was going to go out there and get the job done. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah, he looks like a top 5 featherweight, and we don't know if Lerone Murphy is going to be next, but I don't know if the phraseology, however trite, is that the writing is on the wall, but it does not appear as though Lerone Murphy has the inside track despite what he did to Aaron Pico. Yair Rodriguez is on the men for a while. Diego Lopez seemingly is factoring into this equation right after the big win over Jean Silva. And the rightful number 1 contender, of course, Movsar Evloev, Aljamain Sterling, and others are there. But Steve Garcia checks a lot of boxes, boys, right? He's a knockout fucking artist, man. And well-coached, developmentally brought along the right way. On any given Saturday night, I think this guy can knock out the champ.
You took the words out of my mouth. When you look at these rankings, the UFC, to a certain extent, has an NFL component of it that any given Sunday. I was just going to go there. Even a guy like Fluffy Hernandez, who you see go down, and Brendan Allen gets that spot against Reiner de Ritter. And look what he does to the dude who's all the rage. And where does Fluffy fit in? I know it's a different division, but a lot of any given Sunday, I think a lot of these matchups, the UFC roster is so deeply talented. The names of some of these unranked guys that could present problems. The guys in the top 5 is vast.
Yeah. I don't know if Steve Garcia called somebody out after the fact. Perhaps Cody knows that answer. Thanks for populating the rankings, Cody. Yusuf Zalal, who was in the corner of David Onama, is number 7 in the world, right? And I think that fight makes sense. You could certainly throw Steve Garcia on pay-per-view, either in a featured bout or to open the pay-per-view, or even in a co-main event on maybe a leaner pay-per-view. He is a bona fide knockout artist. And the way he attacked this Saturday night was really, really special. And I would have said these things regardless of whether he was booked coming up here in 40 minutes. He might not show, you never know, but I'm really excited. Here's the quote from Steve: "Mean Machine Garcia." I think one fight that makes a lot of sense is probably Josh Emmett. He's got a name on him. He definitely has a higher ranking than I do, and I think he's available, so why not? Let's try to set something up the beginning of next year. I think that would be a fun fight. Yeah. Makes a shit ton of sense, Steve.
Yeah, and not a lot of guys calling out Josh Emmett, Steve. Got some balls too,
Yeah. Well, we congratulate Steve Garcia, and hopefully we will be joined by the man himself coming up in 40 minutes. And, another guy out of Jackson Wink, making a run here in the 145-pound division. Alexander Volkanovski wanted to fight in December, and it does not appear as though that is going to happen. It is not going to happen, in fact. So we've talked a lot on this podcast about the television deal and how it might factor into some of the matchmaking, and looks like Volk's going to be held out. And Ken Flo, in a word, who do you think is going to be next for Volk if you're a betting man? Is it going to be Diego Lopez again?
It's possible. It's quite possible. I want to see Lerone Murphy. I think that's the guy.
Who do you think they're going to go with, Jay, based upon what you've heard?
I mean, you would know better than me, man. I feel like Lerone may get the nod, but I haven't heard nothing, man.
Yeah. All right. Very interesting. I'm going to probe Steve Garcia here coming up in a little bit. All right. Now we get to the heavyweight co-main event. Between Waldo Cortez Acosta and Ante Delia. It's a knockout for Cortez Acosta. Salsa Boy at 3:59 of round one. But Kenny and Jason, as you well know, it is so much more than that. So Ante Delia, Tom Aspinall's training partner, one of the primary training partners of Tom Aspinall, certainly was going to be asked about the eye poke in advance of this particular contest, said he had never poked anybody in the eye. Ends up poking Waldo Cortez Acosta in the eye in round one. Pretty nasty wedding ring finger in the eye and a lot of damage and obvious pain for Cortez Acosta. It was part of a sequence that was ruled in real time as a TKO by Mark Smith. Later reviewed, determined to be an inadvertent eye poke that sort of was the beginning of the end of the Delia stoppage. And so a lot of confusion, I'm sure, in the truck. Definitely a confusing broadcast. They told us the fight couldn't continue, and then they told us it could. It did. And then Kenny, Salsa Boy, lands a huge right hand and knocks out the Croatian fighter. What do you have for us on that?
You summarized it quite well, man. There was a lot going on in those few minutes, man. I think I'm still confused. But yeah, just craziness, man. Absolute craziness to, Delia talking about how he had never poked someone. He ended up poking, Waldo Cortez Acosta in the eye and then ended up getting, a TKO win. That's what it seemed like. And then they restarted the fight, which, assuming he was good to go, which I guess he was, but, then he gets the knockout over Delia and then he kind of rolls on the ground, still holding on to his eyes. And it's like, why the hell did he continue fighting if his eye was messed up? And I don't know. Listen, the right guy won, I guess, at the end of the day. But man, just very, very confusing stuff of what happened. And the finger pokes continue to haunt us.
Jay?
So from my standpoint, with some of the madness where fights are being ended or early before the bell, you recall that situation with Matt Frivola where Murgliata sort of got in there early that happened recently. But I think in this situation, despite the uniqueness, the result of the way they handled the eye poke and that situation was absolutely the right way. Circumstantially, it led to the end of the fight, but they handled it the right way. I feel for Delia because clearly he couldn't flip the switch back on or wasn't ready to protect himself. But Cortez Acosta, for whatever people want to think about Tom Aspinall, and it's a very recent eye poke situation, Acosta let us in a little bit more. You really were able to sort of see some of the emotion and the real, and I believe every ounce of his release after winning that fight of that pain was just so real. And for him to sort of get that win after the eye poke, I think is significant. But I also think that for Delia, it's a very unfortunate turn of events, but also fuck around and find out with these eye pokes.
So one thing I have no tolerance for, to piggyback upon your point, is when fans or even fellow fighters want to question whether or not a guy is really hurt or in pain, right? Cortez Acosta at the end of that fight was able to exhale and then obviously focus again on the pain. But Kenny, like why he continued, right?
Right.
I'll tell you why. Among other fucking reasons, UFC 321.
Yeah.
A week before.
He didn't want it to go down like that.
Right. Yeah. And obviously, as Jay says, Cortez Acosta, let us in more. You could see the eye. You know what I mean? And again, buckets of respect for Tom Aspinall, who still can't see out of that eye, whatever. Right. But if you're a heavyweight in the octagon a week after that happens, and then this happens, right? And you can take your no contest or, feel like the eye's good enough to try to continue to beat this guy that you're a much better athlete than, right? And then you go knock him out and a performance of the night bonus comes your way. And I think it feels like justice in a lot of respects. But I know the Croatian fighter and his camp feel a lot differently about their TKO getting taken away.
Absolutely. And I would, I guess, add to that is that every fight is going to be different. Every circumstance is going to be different. And I think you nailed it. I think Waldo probably thought that, you know what, I know I can beat this guy. Let me get a chance. I know I'm probably not 100%, but I don't want it to end like this for myself or for the UFC.
Yeah.
And maybe because there wasn't a belt on the line, he's like, you know what, let's throw the dice. Let's go for it. Whereas maybe there's so much on the line for Tom in that instance against a truly world-class competitor and Cyril Gane, where he's like, I don't think this is worth it. I'm done. And again, I'm not talking about the pain or the injury, the severity of it. they were both bad eye pokes, clearly, but there was also a difference in what was on the line. And I think for Waldo, it paid off. And I think the fans should be very grateful. The UFC should be very grateful for him continuing. And the boy got it done. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's really well put, Jay. Yeah, the stakes obviously have to factor in, right? It's pretty foolish to fight for your world title with one eye.
Yeah, it's a great point out of Kenfield. Both these guys ranked, right? I believe.
Why do I?
Well, just because I was circling back, I said to John, I think Gable Steveson can compete, if not beat both these guys.
Oh yeah, probably.
Sorry, John.
No, I agree. I mean, yeah, Waldo is 6 and Delia is 9. But yes, no. To circle back to Gable Steveson, yes, if you are correct that his next combat sports contest is going to be in the UFC, there are a lot of winnable heavyweight fights for Steveson. It's not a big division, right? How many heavyweights does Mick Maynard have, right? That's why his cheeks, I don't know if he smiled like through the night as he slept, but he looked very happy.
Well, also the big problem for Gable is going to be getting fights outside the UFC too. It's like, who's going to be down to fight that dude? He's not going to fight another guy who's 2-0, 1-0, 3-0,
Yeah. So, Cody, I don't know if you can circle back with the Yadir Del Valle audio file from last week as part of our conversation, but he wins his fight against Isaac Dolgarian by submission at the 341 mark of round 1. But this fight is completely marred in controversy. If you don't know, the betting line, which featured Dolgarian as a near 3-1 favorite, started to move expeditiously and exponentially in the other direction. And then Dolgarian, in a particularly listless effort when it comes to back defense and rear naked choke defense and wayward takedown offense, just didn't look like he was really competing out there. Jay, this is the guy who won. We played this file last week. I know you don't like the pronunciation of the week, but Isaac Dolgarian was submitted by this man right here.
My name is Yadir Del Valle. My nickname is the Cuban Problem.
One more time.
My name is Yadir Del Valle, and my nickname is the Cuban Problem.
The Cuban Problem.
I'm telling you, the B's are B's, John, right? We were talking about like Cuervo, right?
So there are a lot of reports now, and there are a lot of things going on, right, with the NBA and Chauncey Billups and poker and Terry Rozier, all sorts of different things going on in the sports betting world, and rumblings that maybe there have been dozens potentially of UFC fights, right, that have been impacted by, betting scandals or participants maybe throwing fights. So I would encourage everyone to watch this back, right? But I am going to throw a caveat out there, right? Oh, we have Ray Longo? I mean,
does that mean I have to leave?
No, you can stay. Let's go 4 wide. I mean, let's bring Ray Longo into the conversation.
Yeah. Jason, come on. You don't go anywhere. We need you here.
What's up, Uncle? How you doing?
Very good. What are we discussing, guys?
Ray, did you see the fight between the Cuban Problem, Yadir Del Valle, and Isaac Dolgarian? Isaac Dolgarian alleged to have maybe thrown this fight. Did you see that?
I did see it, yeah.
Okay, please tell me what you think, and then I'll get back to my caveat.
Look, it did at times look like he wasn't doing the right things. I mean, not fighting the hands. I mean, it was a little weird at one point, especially then I heard what people were saying. So, it makes for a good conspiracy theory, but either the guy was way off or I don't know. It didn't look good, though. It definitely didn't look good.
You got to scream from the rooftops that you're innocent. And as the mixed martial arts athlete, say that other people just don't know what they're talking about. And that guy was strong as a bull, which he is, right? You got to be saying all of those things. And I'm not necessarily hearing those things from Isaac Dolgarian, who has already been cut from the UFC, right? So I don't know the extent to which the broadcasters knew about this betting trend or things that maybe seemed fishy that were going on. But my caveat is that I watched this fight knowing that there was a scandal. I didn't watch it live.
Wow.
So I'm watching it through the lens thinking that this guy's rear naked choke defense is trash. Right. And then it was rubbish.
Yeah. See, I watched it.
You watched it live.
Yeah, I watched it live, and then the thing started coming in. Then I started going back and going, well, plus I heard he did train with somebody else. I did, so that's a little shaky. Somebody said he was with Krause at one point.
The James
he's
Krause
out of Kansas
connection
City.
is not ideal. The James Krause connection is not ideal. Kenny, let me ask you this.
I would think it's not ideal.
So Kenny, as the striped up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt,
Kenny's got to chime in.
So the rear naked choke defense, right?
Yes.
As Daniel Cormier and most other, you're fighting hands at all costs, right? Like you can't be throwing punches, right? But then Michael Bisping did say, like, when you're getting close to tapping or maybe going out, that sometimes instinctively out of desperation, you will throw punches to see if maybe. So I know there's a lot to unpack here, but what can you tell us about that and what you saw in the fight ending sequence?
Yeah, so it was frustrating watching. I turned it on and I caught the tail end of the fight. And when I was watching it, he had his back taken and he wasn't doing any of the positional escapes, meaning he wasn't trying to readjust his hips or misalign his shoulders with that of the chest of Devalle. And it seemed like he really was like fighting, but not actually trying to get out of the position, if that makes sense. So either it was like, peak meathead stuff, or there's some fishy stuff going on, because if you're in a rear naked choke, like everybody knows that. This is, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu basics. You get the damn things that are trying to do the choke and you get them out of the way. Right. And he wasn't even fighting the choke. Even there, when he wasn't punching, there were times where he was just kind of like trying to fight out of it and trying to resist the choke. But I don't understand how you can get into that level in the UFC and not know to fight hands.
Exactly.
And that's what was so kind of fishy about it. And then I didn't even know about any of that stuff until after I started reading kind of the comments about the, potential foul play. And then I really started thinking, I said, is this what happened? It looked fishy and it sounded fishy. And I'm sure they're going to look into it. I'm not saying that's the case. That's what happened. But it's very unusual to see someone in the UFC fight a rear naked choke for that long, for that amount of time, and not be fighting hands, John.
Yeah.
So it was odd.
So Cody chimed in the chat here, Jay, that Isaac did an interview like a week ago and bitched about betting and not getting a cut of it as athletes, which would be pretty damning. Now, we've seen athletes get cut off a win, right? Martin Budai is 6-1 in the UFC as a heavyweight. He got cut, right? Hamdi Abdel Wahab just got cut, right? But seemingly, Jay, there's something in the underbelly that allowed them to cut him right away.
Didn't someone ask Dana about it? And he was like, there's not enough money in this, right? Didn't someone ask him at the press conference?
Oh, well, I agree. That makes sense.
Exactly. And Dana White always just hits the right tone and answers these things right and diffuses it the right way. It's like, go ahead, gentlemen. You're going to try and go make a bunch of money doing this. Like, let's see what the future of Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups is like. Look, we've talked even on this podcast about fighters with injuries going into fights. Forget throwing performances. How about camps having knowledge of
Magomed Ankalaev against Alex Pereira recently, right? I mean,
and Dillashaw was injured in a fight going in with a shoulder, whatever. We could go down a lot of rabbit holes in terms of the gambling stuff, but I almost feel like from this point further, I feel like we nipped it a little bit with the Krause back in the day,
Yeah. Well, right. Like Kenny, if Isaac is like, guys, like, I'm trying my best, man. You obviously have to find a paper trail like, how are you?
That's not hard.
Right. No, that is not hard, but like the bets that would actually make this worthwhile. Are you trying to make 20 grand? What are you trying to do here? What exactly are you trying to do here? You're not going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. It'll get flagged by every book and,
So not to nerd out too much, but so the line had shifted $100? Is that right?
Something like that.
So what kind of a bet would be needed in order to do that?
We can bring Johnny Avello, the director of race and sports in the DraftKings Sportsbook. So talking to you about sort of handle versus like total number of bets. But they move the line in response to, people getting a price on a Cuban Pralo, right? And they're like, oh, well, everybody's betting on this guy, so we need to.
Well, And also,
the time was pertinent too, because it was like just an hour before the fight, right? Or just a couple hours before the fight.
Yeah.
Well, and the handle, for example, it could, let's say it's a $50,000 bet. The whole handle on this fight at a certain book, let's say it's 3,000, right? Then you're making 50,000 in action on it, right? There's certain proposition bets where certain sharp handicappers will go to the window, and certain casinos won't take certain action up to a certain point. So
yeah, gotcha.
Dulgarian Ray opened the fight as a minus 240 favorite. Before the bout began, the odds got tighter, minus 160. Then the odds on a proposition bet for the fight to end in round 1 went from plus 850 to plus 475. So it looks as though DraftKings pulled the prop line entirely. And no matter what network we would be on, DraftKings Sportsbook and that application is straight fire. It is the best one with the most options, and the book that it's the best. Go ahead.
Let me just get in right there, though, right? But if you're talking about a line dropping from plus 850 to plus 475, if you're able to illegally play something plus 850, you don't got to come to the window with as much money. You're getting 9-1 on your money. That's a whole different conversation.
A $10,000 bet. Like, hey, Ike, if you lose in round 1, right, I can turn 10,000 into 88,500, right? Or 85,000, right? So that's how, right? That's how you do it, I guess.
Nobody's doing it for fucking peanuts, for sure.
Right. Right. But to actually be, and again, innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yes.
This is a podcast, and we're responding to the news. Yeah. But you got to be really dense, between ear L and ear R to think this is a good idea. Yeah, right. So Ray.
Yeah.
You got a spider on the ceiling? What are you looking at?
I tell you what, I think I got bugs flying around here. What the hell is going on?
Yeah. So you don't seem like a big Halloween guy, Ray.
I'm actually not it's crazy. It's funny you brought that up. I went to a benefit Saturday night. This might be a decent story I don't think I've ever told. Maybe I have, I don't know. But I went to a benefit on Saturday night, and I didn't somebody just had told me. It was a buddy of mine I haven't seen in 30 years, and his wife has a horrible illness. And I was, as soon as I found out about it, I was running over there because this kid literally was the first guy I ever trained. He was my buddy, Mike Siborowski. And when we were 18, he worked for an upholstery store, and one upholstery store would fight another upholstery business. Out east, they put up a ring, they'd cater the food, you know what I mean? And he comes to me one day, we're like 18, he goes, "Can you train me for this fight? I'm going to take a boxing fight." And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. What are you talking about? He goes, "Yeah, but you're doing martial arts. You're better than, anybody else I have, like more like that." So that's how it started. And he tells me when I took him to the track for the first time, I looked at him and go, "This isn't going to go good." You know what I mean? But anyway, so I train him. And supposedly the guy was, we go out east, and supposedly the guy he fought in the Golden Gloves. I'm like, holy shit, this is horrible. And Siborowski, my friend Mike Siborowski, goes out there and knocks the guy out in the second round. It's like crazy. People are giving us money. They bet on the fights out there. We're talking 1977, probably.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Way before Isaac Dulgarian was born.
Yeah. So I'm like, holy shit, we're getting, and I'm talking about $50. It wasn't like a lot of money that, but, and then everything's great. It's like you're on a high from that. That's like my first taste of something, right? And then I'm pumping gas about a month later, and a guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, were you the guy that trained Siborowski?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you train me next year for the fight?" And I'm like, wow, the trainer's actually, and I think that's the start of it, man. I really do. I was like 18 and 19. And it was a great story. So I haven't seen him in like 30 years. We go there, rehash the story for his kids. She goes, all he talks about, he's got these pictures. And, it was such a great feeling seeing everybody. And I don't know. But the point is, when I got there, I look at the girl. I go, "What is this, a costume party?" She was like, I thought she was the only one dressed up taking the tickets. And she's laughing at me. And it was a costume party. I'm the only guy without a costume. I didn't even know it was a costume party. So I seen all the old guys from the neighborhood I'm talking about in the 70s, early 70s. Everybody's dressed up in a costume, so I wouldn't have known half the people without the costume. So it was a great night for a great cause. And shout out to Mike Zaborowski. It was great reconnecting with him, and hopefully we'll stay in touch. He moved to Connecticut, John. He's out by you.
Did he? Yeah, you gotta be careful. These mean streets of Connecticut. I have a story that'll blow your mind.
And
you
I'll tell you,
keep a ski mask in the back of your car though, in case you ever need a costume. You know,
without it, I like it, John. That'll be good when I get pulled over. I'll be in jail with Dugarian. But
Dugarian.
I can't, whatever his name is. But anyway, that was it. That was the. It was great. You know, it's funny. And I go, how's Connecticut? No, he loves Connecticut. But he said if he didn't move at the time, he would have been dead or in jail. And we ran with a wacky crew back then. That's all I could say. But he's probably right. And what a great guy. And it was great catching up. But yeah, that was my Halloween thing. So it's funny. I'm not a Halloween guy, but I was at a Halloween party on Saturday night, evidently.
So on Sunday, I'm driving 4 minutes.
Are you really going to tell this story?
Why, you think it's against my better judgment to tell the story?
No, tell it, and then Kenny will tell us if it was a mistake or not.
Okay.
To tell it.
Here we go.
I was driving, I was at a stop sign. I'm going down a hill. It's 25 miles per hour. I did not believe that I was tailgating this gentleman, but this dude slammed on his brakes, right? And I had to literally slam on them, and I was then 2 inches from him. Gets out of his car and asked me to roll down my window, and here I'm thinking I tell everybody to be in sneakers and not flip-flops. And the one time I'm in flip-flops here in Connecticut, of course, I can't run or necessarily fight as well. But anyway, he's like, roll down your window. And I rolled it down a little bit. And he said, he was like, can you tell me why you're so far up my fucking ass? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't think that was the case. He's like, well, you better back the fuck up. And then he pulled out like one of those switchblade knives. And he was like, or I'll stab you in your fucking neck. And then he walked back to his car.
Whoa.
So I lived in Nevada and Florida for a long time, moved up to Connecticut for a couple months, and knives drawn, so that kind of shook me up a little bit, but we're ready to go if need be. We'll go down from swinging, I guess.
Dude.
Definitely.
Wow.
The only reason I didn't want to tell the story, I'm a little shook, Flo. I'm a little scared of this dude, right? I put this to bed. I told him, I was like, you drive like an old lady, get your golf cart up there. Just keep.
Well, no, I think a lot of people are trying to get other people to maybe rear end them, and
right.
But yeah, it was never had a knife pulled on me, but yeah.
That's gosh, people are completely mentally not well right now, right? Especially in the fact that someone is willing to pull out a weapon over something like that just kind of shows you where we're at right now. That's scary, dude. Yeah,
that's horrible. John, age, size.
My mom's like, well, you shouldn't be tailgating. I'm like, oh God. Really? I was like, I wasn't, Mom. Yeah, white dude with a red goatee and not in my weight class, but we're ready to go. I was wearing my Arnold Almighty Allen hoodie, incidentally, right? Probably made me look super tough. Poor Arnie, by the way. You see what happened to him, Ken Flo?
No. What happened?
He got jumped in Montreal because he didn't speak French, and so he ended up doing some of his content with like just his eyes all busted the fuck up.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, Cody's telling me it was a bit. Well, I bit. He got me to bite if that was a bit. He got me to bite.
Oh, well, you're still shaking up.
Hopefully
from the
it
guy.
was.
You're still shaking up from the guy trying to stab you.
Yeah.
Hey, John, you can get out.
No,
Go ahead, Ray.
No. That's really, really bad, man.
I couldn't believe, but yeah. Jay, I was going to kick you out here. Yeah. What's up?
You can kick me out. Ray, you have to ask this. I know you're a humble guy, but when you were around all these old motherfuckers at this thing, right?
Yeah.
You look better than all these guys. Don't you?
I'll tell you, man. You're not far off, but I tell you, my buddy looked real fucking good, man.
Yeah. Hey, Ray, did you see Gable Steveson in Dirty Boxing, that 15-second highlight, or no?
I did not see that.
Okay. All right. Jay, thank you. Have a great day and a better evening. And I'll see you in the other room real soon.
Good to see you, Flo, Ray.
Thank you, if Larry's available.
Yeah, I'm going to go talk to Larry.
All right. We continue the Ray Longo Minute here live on the Anik and Florian podcast. Ray's going to be really happy with me right now.
Oh, boy.
Because I remembered something as the producer of this podcast.
Oh, and I already forgot it, but now you just, yeah.
So something happened at UFC 321 that we failed to touch on last week. And I think in some part, rightfully so, because of everything that was going on.
Yes.
But Ray's former pupil, who still reps Team Sarah Longo, Mizuki, looked absolutely, objectively outstanding in her first appearance in almost 3 years. Pumi Nakuda in the corner. Ray and I had a conversation about this off the air immediately following our podcast last week. So, Ray, I got to say, man, like, I don't know. Mizuki was ready to go. We had a fighter meeting with her, and she seemed like a bat out of hell, ready to go. And, yeah, wanted to give her a little shine on the show, of course.
Yeah, let me tell you, I thought outstanding performance from Mizuki. I was so happy. Hadn't fought in 2 years, plus 350 underdog. Went out there, totally dialed in. Like Mizuki was dialed in. It's great to see her back like that because I think she had some personal troubles that I think she cleared up. And man, she came out and she controlled that whole fight against a girl, an up and coming girl with great jiu-jitsu. And I think she beat her at her own game and she beat her at her game, which was standing. And I think she showed everything. And I just restores my faith in humanity. She sent me a text, can I rep the team? I still want to come down and train. I love everybody. And we always love you, Mizuki, too. And that's from the bottom of my heart. And Pumi did a great job with her. Pumi Nakuda, and I know talking to him before, they went over every one of those positions with her. And, we kind of wrote out the game plan for her. And it was just, she's just what a wonderful person. And I only wish her the best of luck. And I think, based on what I saw, I think she's going to go on a little bit of a run because looks like her head's cleared up. Her injuries are gone.
Yeah.
And she had brutal knees, like her knee, the surgery she had to come back from is not easy. So,
and a neck injury as well. She's been through a lot.
Been through a lot, but man, did she look great. And I forgot to mention that last week and I felt horrible. And that was it. But thanks for reminding me, Joe. I forgot again.
Of course. So. Because if you would have told me going into UFC 321, that was the first fight of the night that I would have had like anything close to this enthusiasm about Mizuki moving forward, that we would, I'm just being honest, that we would give her 60 seconds on the podcast. That would not have been the case. She really looked fantastic. I know a lot of people didn't see the fight, so we wanted to congratulate her. So
thank you, John.
Ray, there are a few poster children for undeniability as top UFC contender. Merab Dvalishvili and Bilal Muhammad had to wait forever, but they eventually became undeniable, winning title eliminators that they had to give them a title fight, right?
Yep.
Lerone Murphy isn't in that position at featherweight, even though he did to Aaron Pico something absolutely spectacular in a title eliminator of sorts that a lot of people thought was going to position Pico for a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski. I bring all of this up in the context of what knockout artist Steve Garcia just did at the UFC Apex this weekend, because the way he attacked the octagon and the high level opposition from a good camp on the other side, it was so dismissive. I mean, Kenny really put it better earlier analytically, but I think this kid has all the potential in the world to be like a featherweight champion and a knockout artist in this division.
Well, he's certainly ferocious, tenacious, whatever words you want to use. He's coming forward. He definitely has to have above ordinary power. He's like what we call a sleeper, like an average build, but with extraordinary power. I'm assuming that's what he's got because he's running through people. And that was a phenomenal fight for this kid, man. It looks like his head's in the right spot. But I can't say. I mean, there's nothing you could say about it. I mean, like you said it. The other guy comes from a great camp. He's good, and he had absolutely nothing at his own game. I think, right? Onama's a striker, and he just got walked down. And I don't know. It was almost like the Mike Tyson effect. It was like that guy lost the fight before it even happened. It looked like.
Yes, that's what I was sort of talking about earlier, and. Something Kenny talks about, right, is that increasingly there's more film on you as you continue to fight in the UFC. And even when you think about like Garcia's next opponent, right, these are valuable 3.5 minutes. Like, all right, we got to be, Corey Sandhagen can attest against Aljamain Sterling. You got to be ready right out of the fucking shoot. Like this fight was over for Onama in 8 seconds,
Yep, 100%. And it's good to see Jackson and Wink back in there too. So that was that's always fun too. Those guys haven't really had a guy like this in a while, I don't think. And that's good. That was good.
Yeah, that's a big part of it as well,
fire.
Kenny. Kenny and Greg Jackson are super tight, and right, like Kenny, the IQ is going to be there. That they're not leaving any stone unturned as far as strategy. And, I just find this sport at 35, 45, 55, and 70 to just be so compelling. And there are all these different stylists right now at featherweight, right? Like Aljamain Sterling and Steve Garcia, right, are neck and neck right now on a list of 6 or 7 guys. 7 guys chasing down Alexander Volkanovski. I think it's a fascinating sign for the featherweight division, Raymond.
No, I'm a great performance, and it looks like he's had the ability to move up gradually too, like not get overmatched. You know what I mean? So they did however they did it, they did the right thing with him like that. But he's probably gonna have to take a little step up. But I don't know who did he beat Cater the last time? Was that the fight I'm thinking of? And Calvin's. Did he fight?
Yeah,
Cater?
Josh, there are a lot of possibilities. I'm curious how they're going to sort of handle the matchmaking at featherweight in that first quarter, because they have a champion who desires to fight every 12 weeks and seemingly was prevented from doing so in December because of some plan that maybe they have. So,
great fight on that.
So, Ray, did we talk to you about the co-main event? We didn't talk to you about the co-main event yet.
I'm starting to think it's like death. It comes in threes. Somebody's getting eye poked next week too. There's no question in my mind. No. This is what's happening. I'm like, it's almost like the betting thing for this kid, Oscar, right? Like the basketball shit, the other crap just went down with the poker games, the gambling's in everybody's head. And then this happens, but same thing with the eye pokes. You go from Aspinall to this guy looking like the fight's over. But it really, I think that. But first off, I think it was handled correctly.
Yes, it was.
Right. I mean, I think the other guy's bitching that he thought he won. He had poked the guy in the eyes though, and then hit him. The guy wasn't even out. He was just complaining. But what Cortez did after that was absolutely phenomenal. Anybody bet on that fight? That line should have shifted all over somebody made money on that.
Crazy.
Yeah. So Ray, if you're Tom Aspinall, right? Yeah. And even if this hadn't happened, I was going to ask you sort of a week removed, what are your thoughts on Tom Aspinall, who reportedly or seemingly still can't, completely see out of that eye, right? But you have to tune out the noise, right? Because now a week later, right? There's you cannot make this.
Yeah, you can't make it
right?
up. You
like a week later, your heavyweight teammate eye pokes another individual who then fights through it, right? Thereby giving the fan base everything they're looking for visually from a fighter who gets eye poked, and then he knocks out your teammate, right? This is why Tom Aspinall a week ago, right, isn't it, had to tune out the noise, because now look at all this clamor. Yeah. Imagine you're Tom Aspinall watching that play out on Saturday night.
Nah, you said you can't make it up, and that was absolutely bizarre. I think the fact that, what makes it worse is that his teammates bitching about it, that he got robbed. Like, the rules are the rules. Like, who the hell would even want to win like that? That's not good. But look, as far as the eye poke, everybody's different. Every eye poke is different. Everybody reacts differently. I think it's. I don't think it. You can't draw one thing from it except that the Cuban guys, he got through it. You know what I mean? And we don't know what the extent of his eye was compared to the other guys. But listen, back in the day, Kenny, we used to have a thing called the Oriental World of Self-Defense. Again, I'm going back to that, a lot of big 70s themes this time. But they'd have this guy, I think his name was Rico Guy, but he'd come up and then you'd invite anybody in the audience to come up and kick him in the balls or punch him in the head. And the guy could take it. Right. You don't want to see where the guy is today. Trust me. That's not looking good.
God, yeah.
What are we talking about? Like, everybody's pain tolerances, everybody handles shit differently. I'm not changing one thing about the Aspinall thing. If he couldn't fight, he couldn't fight.
Well,
Right.
and sometimes social media is such, right, that this is a conversation that will get framed on Instagram, right? And certainly we love our guy, Mike Jones, and Media's Own It, right? But my comments, could seem maybe anti-Aspinall when I'm really just laying out that this is sort of what happened, right? And Kenny brought up perhaps the most important point, Ray, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, like title fight versus non-title fight, right? Stakes matter in this conversation, like certainly you want to see every fighter exhaust every possibility to try to fight through it, right? But the fact that a point wasn't taken this weekend, and Daniel Cormier wisely mentioned this, but it seemed like they had to move on. But the fact that Delia wasn't docked a point is really problematic, right? You should have maybe even taken 2 to try to level the playing field for the rest of the fight moving forward. And that, didn't happen. So.
Yeah, well, again, we said it last week. You have to try something, whether people agree with it, disagree with it. You have to at least make the effort to try and see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm still listen, if you really want the fight to go on, let the doctors go in and treat them. If they forget about this, can you see? Of course you can't see. You got poked in the fucking eye. What do you want? Let the guy go in there and do his job. Don't guys come out of the football game, go into the training room, they shoot him up, they put him back on the field. Do you want the fight to go on or not? And if somebody says that it's all about protecting it's not. It never was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can hide behind that if they want, but you're watching guys, bludgeon each other to death. What are we protecting?
Right.
But if they really want the fight to go on, let the doctors go in and do the right thing. Maybe it takes 6 minutes. Go to a commercial break. I don't know. How bad do you want the fight to go on?
Yeah.
So you want it to go on, but at one guy's expense when he can't see is not good either.
Yeah.
And if that's part of the game, then everybody should be poking everybody in the eyes and to make it part of the game. I don't know. I mean, but you got to try something at this point.
No,
if they would have lost that fight, John, it would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Like if that guy couldn't have continued.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I thought they handled that right. They gave the guy time to recover, and the guy went out. Look what he did.
Yeah.
That talk about a right hand. Though somebody in the gym said yesterday that guy used to be a baseball pitcher.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see the way he threw that right hand?
Yeah,
he got hit with the jab, and he was on the mound. I mean, that is picture perfect. And I always tell that story. I mean, I've trained baseball, like I've trained pitchers that sucked. They were horrible. But man, did they have a right hand from hell or a left hand from hell? That motion over and over again will pay dividends if you start punching at somebody.
Yeah, and that's not like a 185-pound guy either. That's a big boy.
Yeah. He missiled that. That was a fastball.
Oh, God.
You don't realize that answer just got you a raise for 2026. It was so good, right? It was so good. Like the fact that it took that long for the baseball analogy to be drawn. It wasn't drawn on broadcast. Kenny and I didn't draw it here. He threw 100 miles per hour as a member of the Cincinnati Reds system. Waldo Cortez Acosta out of the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, he's Dominican. I thought he was Cuban.
But that's gosh, man. And I wouldn't have thought that necessarily. Maybe if I was on the call. I mean,
but John, if you even look at it, like Kenny, I wouldn't even teach anybody to throw a right hand like that. Just
right.
But when I saw it, I go, wow, and I didn't even know he was a pitcher at that point. And then when they brought it up, I go, wow, that makes total sense.
I remember because when I fought Takanori Gomi, he was like in the Japanese system to play baseball, and I remember just the way he threw his overhand. I remember looking, I was like, "Yep, he looks like a baseball player." Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Ray, before we let you go, in terms of your UFC athletes, what have you said to them about parrying or fingertips raised to the ceiling as opposed to in the direction of the opponent? Because the greatest of all time, John Jones, masterfully employed an open-handed style to become the best to ever do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I love the open-handed style. You just can't do certain things when you have rules and regulations. So the finger's got to be pointed up. But I love parrying punches is huge. But that's defensively. You don't have your arms outstretched for that. And you got to be. I guess you got to be mindful. Maybe is the word at all times.
Yep.
But I could see things happen in the heat of the moment, but it's happening way too often.
Yep.
and somebody's got to jump in there, and they have to tell them your first warning right now is in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Even if it's an accident, you're getting the point taken away.
I was going to say, Ray, what would you think about that as a coach, knowing that, listen, from here on out, every eye poke that takes place on the feet is an automatic point, at least 1 point deduction. Would you be cool with that?
I would be cool with that because you only got 2 eyes, man. You don't want them getting poked continuously. And they have to do something about it. They did it with boxing years ago. There was 1 million detached retinas, so they attached the thumb to the glove, and that did put down on it because you couldn't take your thumb like that. You know what I mean? So it was a little different, you know. So they addressed it, and this is a little different because now you got 5 fingers coming at you. So you could get caught with the pinky finger. You could get caught with the thumb, you know.
We have a guy on hold that had a massive weekend. So Ray, I want you to say hi to this man. Cody, I'll read the commercial spot later. I just want to give Ray a chance to congratulate a guy who's got to be top 5 at this point, the bona fide UFC featherweight contender, Mean Machine.
There he is.
Steve Garcia, maximizing the main event showcase over the weekend. Congratulations, my man. Repping Young LA loud and proud, too. It's good to see you, man. Congrats.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on, man. I must be doing something right if I get to have a chat with you guys. So I'm happy to be on. Thank you.
Hey, listen, before I go, Steve, I just want to congratulate you. Happy for you. More happy for Winklejohn and Jackson, man. You're doing those guys right. I'm sure it's a great feeling for them to be back up in the spotlight with a killer like you. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And you got the style everybody loves. You're a finisher. And what else are you going to say, man? But congrats. A great win against a tough kid, man.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely a fan of your work, man. You're a fantastic coach. So I'll let them know, though. I'll let them know for sure. I'll tell them. I'm sure they'll love that. I'm like, hey, Ray was giving you guys a bunch of compliments. Don't get your head too big, but
nah. You know, I'll tell you a funny story. Then I'm out of here. But I saw Greg Jackson. I saw him. Maybe
you just called him Craig.
Greg, I do that all the time. So sorry about that. But I saw him in Jersey maybe like 5 months ago, and we took a picture, and he's like, "Yeah, we're like 2 old gorillas in the zoo. People are staring at us." He's got a crazy sense of humor, but it is true. Like, we've been around forever, and you almost feel like people are looking at you, going like, "Who the fuck are these guys?" You know what I mean?
Dude.
But anyway.
Listen. Greg's a different character, man. Well, every morning, like especially Monday mornings. Hey, coach, how you doing? Drunk as always. You know what I mean? You don't even drink. You know?
That makes sense. But anyway, listen, enjoy, man. You're on a ride. Enjoy every step of it. I think you're going somewhere, and hats off to you, buddy.
Thank you, brother. That means a lot. Thank you so much. Appreciate
it. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm getting out of here without a would you rather.
Out of here,
I'm out of here. Take it easy.
All right, so great to have Steve Garcia with us live on the Anik and Florian podcast. I know you're probably making all the media rounds today.
I lost y'all. Hold on.
My man, so, it's interesting because as a mixed martial arts athlete, right, you sort of envision...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Can you hear us?
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah,
it seemed like maybe he could hear us before, Cody, but can't hear us any longer. Maybe you can get him out and bring him back in if you need to, Code Blue. This is a Code Red. If
I'm come out, I'll come back in.
Okay. There we go. Yeah.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about Steve Garcia. And what I was going to say, Kenny, is like as a mixed martial arts athlete, you sort of dream about the spotlight being on you. And then it is. Right. And then it's like, how do you deal with your new life that is making the media rounds on a Monday and everybody wants a piece of you. And now the fights are going to get bigger. And then you get a main event like this, and then you do what he does. How do we sound, Steve? You got us?
We're back on, man.
My man. So it's great to see you. We appreciate your time. I know it's valuable, especially everybody probably wanting a piece of you after a monumental win. But I was going to say, every MMA fighter sort of dreams of having the spotlight on them and fighting in a main event and becoming champion. And then it happens, and then you sort of see how you are equipped to handle it. And bro, the manner with which you attack that main event this weekend was unbelievable. I mean, Ken Flo doesn't text us a lot, and he's texting us. And so how did it feel to sort of handle that main event week and then take your opponent just right out of the fight like that?
Yeah, man. It was well. One, I was blessed. They trusted me with the minivan. I think I kind of said it a few times. Everybody's like, bro, you didn't give yourself some credit because you know what, bro, like you handled that with, the best way you probably could have. But like at the end of the day, the UFC was able to still kind of like give me that opportunity, and I wasn't gonna drop the ball on that. You know what I mean? So, everything I try to keep everything the same though. And I'm like the Apex King, bro. So like that's my sixth knockout in the Apex, bro. I need like a little plaque in the corner or something, you know?
We can make that
So
happen.
yeah. So, but yeah, man, I just went out there, man, and I try to keep everything the same. I trained my ass off for that fight, and I was expecting a war with Onama because I know he brings it, But a few things I don't know if maybe he was kind of feeling the pressure of the main event. I'm not too sure. I had some kind of weird vibes in there a little bit with him, but it is what it was. And at the end of the day, I gotta go, make my money. I gotta get paid, and this is how I feed my family. So I'm gonna capitalize every opportunity I can to, I guess not. I'm not trying to be like the center of the spotlight. You know what I mean? But if it's given to me, I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Well, Steve, you look dialed in, man, and you got off to a great start, and I thought that was going to be really important. I thought it was going to be a really important factor for the fight. Did that great start happen organically, or was that kind of in the back of your mind too, to kind of get off to a good start against Onama?
I kind of didn't really know what to expect, but I do. So I fought their team before, and they beat me a long time ago in Bellator. Joe Warren got me on a decision, and man, dude, it ate me alive. I'm not gonna lie, I was happy I got it back. You know what I mean? I had to get one back, but I felt like they're very analytical, which I really really respect. But sometimes you can overthink things. And so I'm like, all right, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? You know what I mean? Because he's a tough cookie to crack because he switches his stances. He does well out of both stances. Has solid grappling. It looks like when he hits you, he hits pretty hard. I mean, he only hit me a few times and he cut me. So I respected the guy a lot. But the moment that I kind of felt like things were a little off, I'm like, dude, this is my time to capitalize on the moments. You know what I mean? You don't get too many moments that open up for you like that. So I was like, all right, let's freaking just go for it, man. And that's what I'm about, man. I was like, you in or you out? We fighting or we not fighting? You know what I mean? We're going for it. So let's go for it. So that's always been how I approached it.
It's amazing, man. So where do you think this win puts you, man? Onama obviously was ranked. You've been ranked now. What fight do you think realistically is going to be next for you?
Well, I think this probably puts me back at 11, because it didn't do much for me. But I just hope that it shows everybody that I'm a gamer, bro. I don't care where I'm at in the card. Dude, I was the very first fight at an Apex card, years ago. Now I just headlined one. You know what I mean? I just need time. You know what I mean? So I've always said it. If I have to do one by one, I don't care. I'm not scared of anybody. I will do one by one. Of course, I want the easier routes, to the top. Who doesn't want that? Probably more money. Push to the title. Those are dream come trues right there. You know what I mean? But I'm still living a dream. I mean, like I said, you're talking to a kid from Albuquerque that doesn't have a whole lot going for him. At the beginning of his career, again, New Mexico is just very rugged. People don't really get behind their people too much. It's just kind of how it is here. But it's okay, man. Like I believed in myself. So I feel like with that being said, with everything that happened this past Saturday, I'm hoping I'll crack in the top 10. I think I'm worth top 10, material for sure. You know what I mean? This is kind of not for me to decide, but yeah, someone like I was calling out Josh Emmett, kind of just making it rounds because he's available. I know he's available.
Right.
I kind of hear a few different, rumors about Gene Silva and Arnold Allen and Aljo and all these guys that they're already getting potentially matched up. I haven't heard anything about Emmett. He just came off of a loss. He fought Zalal. Zalal should be available, but again, I kind of hear some of these rumors that are kind of going around. I was like, Emmett has some name value, bro. I was like, let's freaking maybe we'll just go out there, and I think that's a headliner, right? You know what I mean?
I think that's a good call out, man. Yeah,
I think that would make sense. So I mean, who doesn't want to see that banger?
So there's so much to unpack here. Steve Garcia with us live on the Anik and Florian podcast, right? Like if I'm you, I don't know how much you hear as the just this apex predator, right? We'll get the plaque on the wall, but how much you hear Yusuf Zalal, right? Giving David credit when he doesn't deserve it out of the other corner, right? And it's all audibly able to be heard because you're in the apex, And you're like, you can fucking get it next, number 7 in the world. You know what I mean? Like, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're hearing him in the other corner. But yes, I think a headliner against Aljo, there's so many things in front of you. And as this division's, you are the Josh Emmett, and you're the preeminent knockout artist in this division. You know, I'm curious, like, Lerone Murphy doesn't necessarily seem to have the inside track on the title shot, you know, and I'm just curious, you know, Kenny in part asks you about the division, and, you know, do you recognize that, like, even like that it might not get slow played and all of a sudden, like, things could happen really quickly for you?
I've kind of been, you know, told that, you know what I mean? It's like, hey man, like, don't be surprised if you know, shit just pops off. He says the next, you know, 24 months of your life could just freaking just take off. And I'm like, all right, well then let's get ready. Just let me know what I got to do. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's why I pay you. I was like, bro, I need you to help me out. I was like, because I don't come from a line of boxers or fighters or anything. Like, I'm the first of my generation, my family. You know what I mean? So it's good to have the guidance that I have. And so, yeah, man, I'm all for it, man. If we get a Leron Murphy, if we get an Emmett, if we get an Aljo, if we get a Brian Ortega, which I don't know if he's going to stick around. There's a bunch of people in there that I don't know for sure who's available, who's not available. I'm that type of person that just doesn't say no. I'm just like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna shy away from a challenge.
So, you know, I'm not much of an I told you so guy, right? But, you know, maybe my dad wasn't like chief among the supporters of me going into broadcasting, right? Your dad has been front and center, right? Like, if I'm your dad, dude, I'm walking around Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm like, fucking what? You see my fucking son? You know, like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, what is it like for him to see his son do what you've done?
What I will say is, I think my dad's kind of been like your dad a little bit, because at the beginning he was very against me doing this. He's like, no, you'll be a doctor. I was like, no, I'm not gonna be no doctor. Okay, maybe a lawyer. I was like, no, I'm not gonna be no lawyer. He's like, fine. He says, you know, because I told him, I was like, I'm gonna join the military. That was gonna be my route before all this kind of popped off.
Yeah.
And once he decided he couldn't change my mind, he's, you know what? He says, I clearly can't change your mind, so I'm going to support you. And he went out and he got all these certificates through, you know, all these strength conditioning programs. And he went to school for it, you know, a bunch of these on it programs and stuff like that. So I have a fantastic dad. You know, he's like, if I can't stop him, I'm going to make sure I do everything I can to make sure that he's successful. So I have a fantastic dad. He's seen things that most dads shouldn't see. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to like the weight cutting, being front and center, seeing their son getting punched in the face repeatedly, and so on and so forth. So I'm truly blessed about it. My dad is that hype man though. Like, honestly, he's a networker, bro. Like, he'll go out, he's literally like my voice. So he'll go around and he'll talk good about me and stuff, because I mean, you guys probably already know, like, that's probably why, like, I've kind of been slow tracked in the grand scheme of things, right? Because I'm not over here, you know, yelling at people in the face. You know, I'm just like, bro, just bring it, dog. I'm freaking go. Let's, you know, I'm about, you know. But my dad has always been that guy. He's like, you know what, Steve? He says, you need to give yourself more credit, man. You need to give yourself more credit. You know, you're doing a lot. You know. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, I don't know. All I know is that I just got to keep winning. So we kind of balance each other out.
That's amazing. Well, maybe next time we'll have the both of you on the show. But yeah, it just is interesting when you get to this position, number 11 versus Lerone's number 4, you know, it just doesn't necessarily matter. I guess my last question for you would be, in terms of all this Apex success, right? What about like a co-main event on pay-per-view, or I guess on a numbered card, or kicking off a big numbered card? I guess, what is your relative appetite for that? Because I would say the majority, even if it's a 51% majority, the majority of athletes in your position have wanted out of the Apex and want that rub that they get from the crowd.
Yeah, man. I want live crowds, man. Like when I fought in Nashville against Cater, dude, the energy was just something else, man.
Yeah.
And they weren't really, they don't know me. They were voting for, they were like rooting for Cater. You know, and I still didn't care, because the energy is still electric. And honestly, it's funny because my wife and my family, you know, they're there, and they're like, dude, like you were switching the tide a little bit. Like, you were you were becoming the chant. You were the one that was kind of like getting, the props and the recognition. And I was like, yeah, man, I could hear him. You know what I mean? Because at first everybody was rooting for Cater, and then but by the end of the fight, everybody was like kind of either quiet or they were, rooting for me. So I think with my style, I think I can relate to a lot of these guys. I think I can win them over, and you just got to give me a chance. So of course, like I want those opportunities to be in front of a live audience in an arena.
Yeah.
When you're in the Apex, like I'm very limited on tickets. I have a
Right, of
ton of
course.
people that bug me all the time, like, "Hey, can I get tickets? Like, where can I buy tickets?" So I'm like, "Dude, it's at the Apex. You can't do
Right,
that."
right.
And so I sell a ton of tickets when especially in this region. But I have people that travel all the time that would tell me like, "Hey, man, like I just want to go watch you fight, but you're always at the Apex."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, I don't make that call, man. I mean, this last one I kind of made the call because I was like, if I get a main event spot,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate where it's at. You know
Right.
what I mean? I'm gonna take the opportunity and run with it." So I got it, and now I got a poster with my face on it, bro.
Yep.
So
You're damn
I'm
right. No,
I'm
you're the
I'm
man
happy
on the
about it.
marquee, and in the future there will be tickets at the Apex, obviously. But yeah, man, I gotta say, in closing, like if I was an opposing coach watching film and I didn't know you had a nickname as a fighter, I would be like, all right, we're gonna break down Steve today, and this dude is like a mean machine. Like like who deserves credit for mean machine?
Well, I used to be the machine. I used to train all the time. I used to grind all the time. You almost had to kick me out of the gym.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you guys remember Mark Hominick. He had that
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And I hated that because I'm like, nah, I want my own name. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I wanted something a little different, but everybody's like, dude, like you're just a machine, bro. And I was like, yeah, I know, but someone has that name. Like, I don't want to steal that name. And so, time goes on. I had tons of fights as an amateur. I had 14 amateur fights. You know what I mean? And they're like, dude, like, you're just mean in that, bro. You're just mean. And so, like, it kind of that kind of just like stuck a little bit. And then all of a sudden, Keith Georgine opened up a school, and it was sistered with Jackson Wing. And so I trained there for a little bit. Actually, I trained there for like 3 or 4 years. And they're like, dude, I think that's your name. You're the mean machine, dude. And
Dude.
I was like, yeah. I was like, that kind of sounds kind of good, man. I was like, that rolls off the tongue. I like it. And so we've always tried to make like cool art. Nothing ever stuck, but like try to make like a Terminator like
Yeah.
silhouette. Never
Yeah.
stuck. But that's how I got the name, man.
We have an artist, Joe Romero, that I think could drum up something for Mean Machine.
Yes.
But yeah, the nod
Dude.
to the dean of fucking mean, Keith Jardine, one of the
Yeah.
all-time great nicknames. Well, Steve Garcia at Mean Machine 505. Congrats on a huge win. We'll let you get on with the rest of your day. We appreciate you waking up early for us. You're a dad now, though, right? So you're probably up early.
Oh, dude, it's the best. Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. Well, congrats on everything.
Congrats, man.
It's been amazing to watch your career develop. You mentioned the 14 amateur fights and the slow play in the UFC, and now the man on the marquee. We appreciate your time, and hope to see you on a numbered card, my man, first quarter 2026, bro.
Hey, push for me, guys. If I need all the push I can get. So, I appreciate that, though. Thank
We
you,
got
guys.
you, bro.
Let's
Congratulations. There he is, Steve
All right.
Garcia,
Let's
Mean
go.
Machine, with us live on the Anik and Florian podcast. Yeah, no, I do remember now, his dad had initial trepidation, and I think my dad more had pause with me taking out a loan to go back to broadcasting school after I had a 4-year degree, but
Right.
Steve Garcia,
It worked out.
Yeah. And we appreciate Steve's candor and thoughtful answers today. All right. It's official. It is. It's November 3rd. The holidays are around the corner. That means lights, gifts, and get-togethers. Happy holidays, my man. Here's some Mando. Not that you smell or anything, but it's way better than whatever you're using now. So why is Mando the GOAT? Why is Mando the MVP? Clinically proven 72-hour odor control, whole body, pits, package, feet, everywhere in between. Stops odor before it starts. 3 formats, by the way: invisible spray, solid stick, invisible cream. I'm traditionally a sweaty guy, which means I'm a stick guy, but the cream, I'm telling you, like a secret weapon for full body protection. Body deodorant wipes, I talk about them every week. They'll make me a Mando customer for life, on the go, useful on the daily. Whole body products, folks. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's Grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, average Grundle odor level is 0 out of 10. Those are facts, folks. Mando starter pack, perfect for new customers, or to secure some last-minute stocking stuffers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for listeners and viewers, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code AFPOD at shopmando.com, 20% off site-wide and free shipping, shopmando.com. Please support the Anik and Florian podcast. Tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Don't let the meat sweats get you this holiday season. Your family and friends will thank you. All right. Lot to get to today, and I'm glad we were able to sort of navigate through all of those headlines from that fight night, because you want to do right by the stories, right? Whether it's that betting thing or that wild co-main event. And thanks to our man Ed Cap and the Iridium Sports Agency for Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. All right, we got another fight night at little UFC Apex 25-foot octagon open for business this weekend. So let us shift our focus. Pronunciation of the week is brought to you by Total Wireless, the official wireless provider of UFC. Get unlimited data that won't slow you down. So we've done this file before. Adrian is his first name, Kenny. Mm-hmm. He trains out of Houston, Texas. Now aligned with the General Saif Saud at Fortis MMA in Dallas. Rather famously started his UFC career at 5-0, Kenny. He was all the rage. A little up and down over the last couple of years, working his way into the top 15, potentially with a win this weekend. And he re-recorded his audio file.
Yes.
To what he says is the proper pronunciation. So why don't you give that for the masses, Kenny, if you would?
Yeah, he put the Enye in there in Yanez.
Yeah, so correct? A lot of his UFC film on UFC Fight Pass is Adrian Yanez, and that is how he asked for his name to be pronounced when he signed with the UFC. But then he was like, you know what? That's not my name. So here's the new file.
My name is Adrian Yanez. My name is Adrian Yanez.
So if I was a host of a show and I had trouble saying that, I would just put another Y in the middle of it. Adrian Yanez.
Yes.
And then our second file, Kenny, we just like to hear your Brazilian Portuguese. This is just selfish. Former world title challenger at bantamweight out of Uberlândia, Minas Gerais. She's lost 3 in a row. You couple that with a no contest in what was an overturned win due to a failed post-fight drug test after getting past Holly Holm. She's winless now, dating to February of 2023. Kenny, nicknamed Shitara. What do you have?
Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva.
All right, Cody, hit the button.
What do we got?
Mayra Bueno.
Mayra.
Mayra Bueno.
Mayra. I got it wrong.
Bueno.
Okay, Mayra. Want to sing it? We'll get down with you. But imagine, though, if that's our new theme song, Kenny, like as in next week. Like, let us know what you think, folks. Do you like the Boston Garden rap, or do you like... And now, here are your hosts, John Anik and Kenny Florian. Wait for it. Here are your hosts, John Anik and Kenny Florian. Here are your hosts, John Anik and Kenny Florian. I mean, you're still getting headshot bang, but do you prefer that, or do you want the Boston Garden rap? Jay, you okay if we steal the theme song from... Yes? Okay, yeah. All right, he says it's fine.
Nice.
All right. We are going to get you some picks in about 45 seconds. But real quickly, if you like the hardwood, all your favorite NBA players are back. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. New customers bet just $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass. Plus score $300 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code AFPOD. That's code AFPOD. You bet $5, 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. What am I missing? In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Best must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass. Auto renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. You know, this dude is dicking around Great to have Brian Petrie, Big Gun Brian Petrie, Chief Handicapper, Anik and Florian podcast.
Sir.
But the guy who manages our business is like making noise with a golf club. There's a huge bang. What are you doing?
Who, me? Hey, what's up, Big Gun?
What's up, baby?
I feel like I should have a Southern accent
you
when I talk to
exercising?
Petrie. Hey, no, I'm mopping. Hey, Petrie.
Yeah.
I was watching baseball. Otherwise, I would have given you your flowers.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
He's mopping, Yeah,
Uh-oh.
he's mopping. Yep. He's vacuuming earlier as I'm trying to prep the show. It's an amazing homemaker. Bri.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody about your see, it's funny because you come on, right? And all I want to do is ask you about like Salsa Boy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I know we have other things that we have to get to,
Mhm.
So you hit an 11-1 parlay to bring yourself right
Yeah.
back into the conversation, didn't you?
I did. I'm not a parlay player, but it hit, baby. It hit. Had a little bit of luck, maybe some fight fixing involved. Who knows? But it doesn't matter because I got cash, baby. We ain't turning back. I ain't giving the money back. It's already
Let's
cash.
go, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to bury the lead here.
Sure.
So, I mean, do you stay aggressive now? Or are you now looking like, all right, how many cards do I have? Like, because now you don't necessarily. I mean, what are?
Yeah, so
should I wait?
No. I'm full pedal to the metal at this point. I'm still staying aggressive. I got I got a full beans wager coming up at the end of the show on a parlay as well. It's not 11-1 just because of the way the line is on this card. But yeah, it's a nice little juicy parlay to sink our teeth into.
So Cortez Acosta, Jeremiah Wells, and the Cuban Prano Del Valle. 1,000 paid 11,200. So you shave your nut from 18,728 to 7,528.
Yeah, bub.
You could have done without Kenny hitting all of his bets.
Yeah, Kenny's a sharp too. That's why I said I gotta stay aggressive because this guy hits.
Yeah,
I went
he hit all his
12-1 on my picks. I missed one fight.
Yeah.
And it was Timmy Kwama looked amazing. So it's props to Timmy Kwama. But yeah, almost a perfect week for your boy. Feels good. I needed one.
Nice,
Confidence
Yeah.
all high. Let's go.
All right, so there is a segment of the Anik and Florian podcast listenership that tunes in for the free picks, right?
Mhm.
And these picks will always be free. So we're going to give you 8 of them today, but I need you guys to be expeditious with the 2 prelims.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
At bantamweight, Adrian Yanez is minus 230. He's fighting Christian Quinones, who comes back plus 190. So Yanez Bry turns 32 later this month, 6-3 in the UFC after a split loss to Daniel Marcos last December. Bigger name here, his first start of 2025. How do you see it playing out for him against Christian Quinones?
Yeah, I love Yanez. And this is a guy I've been following for a while. Listen, if you count his contender series, his first 6 fights in the UFC, 5 of 6 were finished by knockout. Like, this kid's the real deal. He dropped 2 in a row, look at against Vincent Oliveira, and then a war with Daniel Marcos. And, Kenny knows those Peruvians, they don't go down easy. So, really tough fight. But I like him in this spot. Quinones has been knocked out before previously. His real Achilles heel is getting submitted on the ground. His rear naked choke defense is non-existent. But I like Yanez here. I wish the number was a little bit lower. I get it, though. He still has a name there, and I like that he's been bouncing around camps, found a home at Fortis MMA. Can't go wrong with safe say. So give me Adrian Yanez.
Yeah, nicely done. You've always sort of planted your flag on Team Yanez.
Yeah.
Kenny Quinones out of Tijuana, submitted in 2 straight, but last loss was all the way back in February 2024. So in theory, 20 months of developmental time for him as he takes on Adrian Yanez.
Yeah, I think Quinones is a very good all-around mixed martial artist. So Yanez can't really take his foot off the gas in any modality. But I do think he's the better fighter overall. I love the fact that that he has been training with Safe. I think that's going to help him dial in those fundamentals, especially defensively. So I'm with Yanez. Wish it was a better number, like Brian said, but give me Adrian.
All right, one other preliminary selection at featherweight. Hyder Emil minus 130, the favorite against Jamal Emmers, who is plus 110. Brian Emil trying to respond to his first pro loss sustained at the hands of Jose Miguel Delgado at UFC 317 in June. What do you make of Emil here, the slight favorite against the well-traveled Jamal Emmers?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it tight, and you got Kenny going over dropping words like modality over there. This guy's smart. Listen, no, I like Hyder Emil. I know he's coming off a horrible knockout over Delgado. Delgado's a real deal. Jamal Emmers, 2 of his last 3 are by knockout as well. He's starting to really develop the hands, considering he was looked at as a grappler. But Jamal Emmers low volume. Emil is just high volume. I think he's getting it back, unless his chin's completely gone, which I don't think it is, because he hasn't been in that many fights. I think that was just a really good shot by Delgado. Give me Hyder Emil.
Jamal Emmers is plus 110, the underdog here, Kenny. It'll be his 30th pro MMA fight. He's won 2 of 3. What do you make of the featherweights here? Essentially a pick 'em on DraftKings Sportsbook, kid.
Yeah, I think Emmers is pretty dangerous, but I like the consistency from Emil. Of course, coming off a loss, but I like the way he mixes in his striking with his takedowns. I think he gets it done with his grappling here if he's trying to be efficient. So give me Hyder Emil.
Can you mop when the podcast is over in 10 minutes?
I can't hear it if that means anything.
I can't hear it either. You're doing a great job.
Well, Fabuloso is just rifling up my fucking nostrils right now. Main card opener of middleweight, Marco Tulio minus 185. Matuto taking on CLD. Christian Leroy Duncan plus 154. I like this fight, Bri. Tulio hasn't lost since 2018. He's 14-1. Stopped Trayshawn Gore in April at UFC 314. He's 2-0 in the UFC, but a decided step up in competition here against CLD. What do you think, BP, about the middleweights?
Yeah, Trulio's a guy who's all action. He doesn't step backwards. He goes forwards the whole time. CLD likes to use his fancy footwork, side to side, kind of pops on in you, low volume. Trulio is not that. He's going to go forward. He has a good win in the Contender Series. You saw Belgari just look really good in the UFC. He beat that guy in the Contender Series. This Trulio guy is mixing some takedowns when he wants to. And the biggest factor here, I'm going with Trulio. He's got a lot of stuff. This is a big fight for him, but he's dating Big Norm. Okay, so this guy can handle himself. We all know it. So give me Trulio, that stud. I like him a lot here, actually. Usually I go CLD, plus money's nice. Give me Trulio.
So he's dating Norma Dumont, who won again this weekend over Ketlin Vieira in a close fight. You're throwing an R in his name, huh?
Wait, what am I doing?
You're going Trulio or something?
Probably. What is it?
Tulio.
Tulio.
Like Coolio, but with the T.
That helps me. I'm a 90s kid. Coolio. Gangster's Paradise? Let's go, baby.
May he rest in peace.
R.I.P.
I know. Kenny Duncan, we've spent some time on him, talking with him with Sean Sheehan about him out of Gloucester, England. 5-2 in the UFC, has momentum reestablished. Does Duncan. He's won 2 in a row, 4 of 5. Stopped Eric Anders in round 1 in his last fight. But the underdog here is he tries to make it a perfect 3-0 in 2025.
Yeah, dude, I'm such a 90s kid. I'm thinking about Tulio, Coolio, CLD, the East Coast family. I mean, it's bad, dude. It's really bad. Okay, listen, I think this is probably going to be the fight of the night. Both of these guys are extremely dynamic. They have a lot of tools. They're very versatile when it comes to their striking. I think Tulio is probably going to be the better grappler overall, but both these guys throw a lot of unpredictable strikes, and I could see either one of these guys winning by knockout. If it goes the full 15, I think we're going to have a fantastic classic fight, but I think Tulio is a little bit more potent, and CLD I think probably has better footwork, but Tulio I think is the bigger guy, the harder hitter. And if he can get by CLD, I think this guy is someone to watch for sure. But I'm going to go with the Brazilian here, Marco Tulio. Let's go.
There it is.
Nailed it.
Like the matchmaking there. Next up, bantamweight veterans, Bri. Ricky Simone, the minus 155 betting favorite against Raoni Barcelos. Amazing where life takes you that I've said the name Raoni Barcelos over 100 times in my life.
I love it.
He is plus 130, Bri. Simone can lay claim to a win over the champ, Merab Dvalishvili. He is 2-0 here in 2025. I think they're high-quality wins. Javid Basharat, Cameron Smotherman. 16th UFC appearance for Simone. He draws Barcelos. BP, your thoughts?
Yeah, big one for Batchray. Knocked him out as well. These both guys are kind of carbon copies of each other, right? They like to strike until they can issue the wrestling. I just think Simone's better everywhere. I think he is the younger fighter. I think he's a little more athletic. I think he hits harder. Barcelos, so this guy, he's doing big things. 3 or 4 fights in a win streak. He had a nice little win over Cody Garbrandt, which I thought Cody might have styled him on the feet, but Barcelos shut that down. I know he's a bit older for the division, but he don't care. Old Raoni Barcelos. This guy's in it to win it. But I do like Ricky Simone in this spot. I think he's just a better fighter, but it's very even. I think it's going to be close. I like the number on Simone. I like the over 2.5 as well, which I think is fairly low on DraftKings right now. Yeah. We'll see what the props open up at, but I like Ricky Simone.
Yeah, Kenflo Barcelos, man, skin like leather 38, but man, still getting it done. 3 wins in a row, and last 2, Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think Makahoni Barcelos is a good fighter, dude. But I agree with Brian. I think Ricky Simone is just a little bit better of an athlete. I think he's got better striking. He's a little bit more potent. Barcelos is really good on the ground as far as putting his submissions together. I think he's the better submission guy. But you got to hit the takedowns. You got to be effective with your wrestling. And while he may be able to get it done, I don't know if he can get it done consistently with his wrestling offense against someone like Ricky Simone. So I like Simone here. I think his wrestling is going to be used mainly defensively to keep it on the feet. And I think he's going to try to land some hard combinations. And I think because of that, I really like him in this spot. Give me Ricky Simone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the main card, both the Bonfim brothers will be in action Saturday night at lightweight. Ismail, modest 225, taking on Chris Padilla, who comes back plus 185. So Bonfim, Bry, the older of the brothers, he'll be 30 in December, has alternated wins and losses across his first 4 UFC appearances. Coming off the stoppage loss to Nazim Sadikov in February. So a big spot for him here, and Padilla shows up in his bracket. BP, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't get a hold of Padilla. Like this guy, his nickname's Taco. He just eats tacos and skateboards all day. But he's in there. He's undefeated in the UFC, right? He's good grappling, good striking. Came off a split decision win over Jai Herbert. I can't get a read on this guy, and he's the underdog, so it makes me want to take him as the underdog. But I just think Bonfim, he's in the camp with his brother. I just think he's a little more explosive. I think he's going to have the bigger moments. I think this will be a close fight. It's going to go to decision. I think the judges are going to like the bigger moments from Bonfim here. I don't see him putting out Padilla. Padilla's proven to be pretty durable, pretty tough. But listen, coming off a loss to Naz Sadikov, who I think is going to be probably top 10, top 5 sooner than later. There's no shame in that. His other loss in UFC is Benoit Saint-Denis. That guy's a killer on any given night. So no hanging hats on those losses. I like Bonfim here. I like Bonfim by decision. A close one, but give me Bonfim.
Kenny, Chris Taco Padilla plus 185 or so right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. 3-0 in the UFC. Trains with Chris Cully and Chad George in his native California. You like the American Padilla, Kenny, or the Brazilian Bonfim?
I like the fact that Padilla is very durable. And I like the fact that he also is pretty versatile as well. Love that nasty elbow he threw. Was it last fight? Just awesome stuff. But I think that Bonfim is a little bit more dynamic. Maybe has throws a little bit more volume, which I think bodes well if this fight goes to decision. But Padilla is very consistent, but I'd like to see him throw a little bit more, be a little bit more active, and be more offensive. Sometimes he kind of waits and sees and tries to counter, which is a great style. I'm not sure that would be the best game plan here against Bonfim, unless Ismail is not managing his energy well. If he gets tired in the later rounds, that's where I could see Padilla kind of coming back and getting the win, maybe even by stoppage. But I'm going to go with the Brazilian here, Ismail Bonfim.
All right, next up, featured bout at welterweight, and probably 2 guys who, despite some relative momentum, are outside of the top 30 in this division. Uroš Medic minus 185. The ageless Muslim Salikov plus 154. Bry, he turned 41 in March, but the current run, the best of his UFC career on paper. 3 straight wins, the last 2 knockouts of Song Kanan and Carlos Leal. He's the plus 154 underdog this weekend, going for his 10th UFC win against the Doctor. BP. Lead us off.
Yeah, listen, I have spoken very ill of Muslim Salikov in the past. If I ever meet him in person, I give him full permission with no charges pressed of spinning wheel kick my head off my goddamn shoulders. Because this guy's 41 years old and he knocked out Carlos Leal at a plus 375 underdog.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's great. And Leal is a boy, you know what I mean?
Man, yeah.
And this dude's 40. So this dude is getting better, right? And his cardio has always plagued him in the past, but he's looked good lately and he's looked fast and explosive. You got Uroš Medic, who got put out 2 fights ago by Puna Soriano, which, that guy cracks as well. But Usho likes to strike. He can mix it up. He's tall. And listen, don't lie. That's how you say his name. Usho, man.
You're like Shale at this point.
No, it's bad. It's bad, bro.
Usho
Medic.
I almost pulled the fight. Uroš Medic.
Uroš, yeah.
However you say it, he's going to need it, Medic, after this fight, boys. I put it together because Muslim Salikov's going to knock him out. I see a KO here from Muslim. I see him, this 40-year-old fucking dagger, throwing some fancy shit out there, catching Medic, and we're gonna go to the bank with that one, babe. So give me Muslim Salikov. Sorry, sir, for picking against you the past 2 times.
Ken Flo, Uroš the Doctor Medic. Former lightweight, 5-3 in the octagon after a big knockout of Gilbert Urbina on August 9th, trying to close the year with 2 straight dubs. What do you think of this one? Medic the favorite, Salikov the dog.
I'm trying to throw something different out there, guys, but I think I've been hanging out with BP a little bit too much here. because I see it the same way. I think that Uros Medic is a good fighter, but I don't think he's going to be a huge threat to someone like Salikov, who's has some good momentum right now. I think Medic is probably going to want to keep it on the feet here, and I don't think that will go too well for him. I think he's susceptible to getting hit. I don't think he's got the best chin. And Muslim Salikov here he's a young 41, John, a young 41, a young man. Give me Salikov, whatever you want to say.
He's spry.
Yeah.
And I will just say, for whatever it's worth, more often than not, when both of our guys convictedly are on an underdog, that number moves on DraftKings Sportsbook. They both like the ageless Muslim Salikov at plus 154.
Yeah.
All right, Ken Flo will lead on the final two fights. Co-main event at flyweight, Joseph Morales minus 270, Matt Schnell plus 220. Morales, I like this kid. I like his attitude. He's the only one I've seen sort of go at DC in a fighter meeting, and it was in a somewhat playful way, but he submitted Alibi Idris at UFC 319 in August in Chicago, Bry, to win season 33 of The Ultimate Fighter. Now spinning it forward as a near 3-1 favorite in what will actually be his fifth UFC appearance across two stints, taking on the formerly ranked Matt Schnell. Ken Flo, lead us off on the co-main event, if you be so kind.
Yeah, I saw these odds and I was a little kind of perplexed by it. Not because I don't think Morales is a good fighter, but I want to get more information on Morales. I want to see him in more UFC fights. And because of that, I think Matt Schnell, could play spoiler here. And, he's been up and down in his performances, but I do think he's going to be the better striker overall. I think he's got to be careful being on the ground with someone like Morales, who's good at hunting submissions. But Schnell isn't too bad in that realm either. And if you get a Schnell who is competing well, who is fired up, he's a really good fighter. If you catch him on a good day. So I like Schnell in this spot. I really do. I think Morales is a good fighter. I just want to see more from him. But give me Matt Schnell.
Man.
Nicely laid out. Matt Danger Schnell's been on the roster since 2016. Got that big win over Jimmy Flick. Obviously, he needed that, Bry. He had been finished in 3 straight prior. Trying to avoid a 5th loss in his last 6 here. But yeah, when he's right between the ears, a little chinny, but has a lot of high-end experience, Bry. What do you think about the Fly guys here in the co-main event?
Yeah, so Kenny and I have been on the same page the entire time. I thought for sure he's going Morales because I can barely sit in my fucking seat without screaming at the rooftops how Morales is. I'm all in on him this weekend.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
I think he runs through Schnell. Schnell retired for like 3 months, then came back, got the Flick fight. This guy's kind of one foot in, one foot out. You got Morales who got cut unceremoniously from the UFC, had to go through the Ultimate Fighter, win it. Now he's back. I saw him fight in Chicago. He looked phenomenal. His counter punch is really good. His rear naked choke's really good. I love his mental. I love what this kid's about. I think he steamrolls Schnell here. I think Schnell's obviously been chinny a little bit. He's got big heart, so you got to put him down. You got to put him out. Putting him down is not enough. Got to put him down. But I think Joseph Morales is going to the sandwich shop this weekend, boys. He's going to get a little club and sub done.
Club and sub.
Club and sub. I'm predicting it right now. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. That is going to be a hefty bet for me this weekend. I think we're going to get a Morales submission after he drops Matt Schnell. I'm all over Joseph Morales here, babe.
Main event in the welterweight division. First headlining spot for both Gabriel Bonfim and Randy Brown. Bonfim, Kenny, the minus 180 favorite. Randy Brown, the plus 150 underdog. So Bonfim, the one slip up against the hardened Nicholas Dalby. Otherwise, he has won all of his UFC fights. 5-1 in the octagon. Took a split over Stephen Thompson. Highly competitive fight back in July. A lot of us thought Wonder Boy won, but now he draws the well-versed and UFC-tested rude boy. How's my patois? Randy Brown, Kenny. Who do you fancy in the main event?
Gosh, this was a tricky one that I've kind of gone back and forth on. And, after watching a lot of tape on both guys, I think I have my answer. But, Randy, he tends to struggle sometimes against guys who grapple very well. And Randy could, I think if he's able to stop the takedowns, I think Randy can win this fight. I think especially with that long jab, with his confidence gaining with each and every fight. He's fought a lot of tough guys out there. So I think Randy can win this fight. But if, and this is maybe a big if, but if Bonfim decides to just make this a grappling fight and look for takedowns and really try to frustrate Randy and close that gap, I think Bonfim can win this fight and do it pretty efficiently and maybe even easily if he's able to get Randy down to the ground. And I know Randy's been working on that aspect of his game, but there are certain times where I kind of scratch my head and be like, oh, I don't know if that was the right response. And I love Randy as a martial artist, and talking to him, he's a great dude. I think this is a tough fight for him, though. Bonfim, if he's successful with his grappling, I think he wins this one. But Randy, I think, is always going to be a danger on the feet. So should be close, but I'm going to go with Gabriel Bonfim, the other Bonfim.
Bonfim, number 14 in the world. Brown is unranked, Bry, at present. Bonfim, 28. Randy Brown, 35. Rude Boys, 14-6 across 20 UFC appearances. He's won 8 of 10, and the losses in there, the split to Brian Battle last December, competitive fight, Battle misses weight, and then the submission loss in Perth to the now champion Jack Della Maddalena. So that history could benefit the still championship aspirational Randy Brown if he can win in the main event this weekend. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I'm just glad Randy Brown's getting a main event. It feels like it's a little overdue. I know he's a little inconsistent in UFC, but he has sparkles, right? I mean, the MMA math nerds are going to come out. Oh my God, Darby beat Bonfim, but fucking Randy Brown just knocked him out. You know what I mean? A lot of people are going to start analyzing it that way. What I see is exactly how Kenny saw it. You know, Randy Brown's takedown defense is 74%, which is okay, but the problem is takedown defense is decent, right? But it's his ability to get up that's a little bit of an issue, because you look at his fights, he only gets taken down once or twice a fight, but he just doesn't get up. He doesn't do anything. You know, he plays the guard a lot. I know he's semi-confident in jiu-jitsu. He's got long legs, maybe throw some legs up, throw some arms up, whatever. But Bonfim, you know, he went fucking takedown hunting against Steve Wonderboy Thompson, got booed out of the building. It was not a great performance. I got to imagine he's got to improve his takedowns or improve his game plan, because this guy is explosive. He almost had Darby out of there in that fight. Then he gassed and then he got put out. I mean, people forget that, but he's fixed his gas takes and seams. Both guys in 5 rounds, though. First time ever in 5 rounds, at least in the UFC. That is something that I'm looking for, maybe a late round stoppage for one of these guys. And my horse is going to be Bonfim. I just think he has a little bit more on the wrestling side and a little bit more pop on his hands, but I'm not counting out Rude Boy Randy Brown. This is not a confident pick. This is also a pick I might switch later in the week once I get a little more detailed into it. But right now, standing here on a Monday, I'm like 60% confident in Bonfim.
Nicely handled, boys, with the 8 selections here on a Monday, 6 days out. We appreciate that. Your commitment does not go unnoticed. And yeah, I think we hope to see the Jamaican flag flying in the Apex this weekend. Yeah. A lot of us have been thinking and praying for everybody in Jamaica. All right, it is now time for Place Your Bets, brought to you by johnanik.com, where you can get 15% off your show-supporting merchandise order with promo code One More Sleep. We told you about Bry's big parlay whack to shave his nut down to $7,500 in the red. Ken Flo hits his straight wagers on Norma Dumont, plus $246. Straight on Jeremiah Wells, plus $171. And you also hit straight on Steve Garcia for nearly $390. So plus $800 for Ken Flo. Year to date for him, minus $565. Fellas, you got $1,000 to spend this week. UFC Fight Night. Bonfim versus Brown. Brian Petrie. How do you spend your band?
Yeah, if I didn't need thousands to catch up with Ken Flo, the thousands will go on Joseph Morales. That's going to give me like $370 back. Can't do that. So we got to spread it out. Let's go Joseph Morales, leg 1. Let's go Ricky Simone, leg 2, and then bring it down to the prelims with me. We got a little underdog selection here.
Great.
She always fights for my money. Tisha Pennington at plus 154. I think that number's going a little unnoticed. So that brings me at plus 468. Give me 4,000 on that, babe.
Nicely done. I saw that Tisha Torres Pennington number, and I also felt like it was a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ken Flo. You look like a goddamn movie star. Jesus Christ.
God, this guy's stunning.
Kindly make your selection at any time.
I'm going to go with $400 on Tulio. My boy Tulio.
Yeah, you love him.
Yeah, man. He's good. All right, Simone. Give me 400. Simone. And then 200. There's $200 left for my man Salikov.
Hey-o.
All right, there you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
At Brian Petrie MMA, if you want more from our chief handicapper, host of the MMA Takes podcast. My man, you're looking pretty good today yourself, you know?
Thank you, sir. Want to spill the beans a little bit. I was going to save this to next week, but I'm excited because it's a bucket list item for me. Your boy got tickets to MSG UFC 322, hotel booked.
Oh,
tickets booked. I'll be in Madison Square Garden, baby. Let's go. I'm so excited.
We got to take a picture. I mean, we got to have a little
Yeah,
hug,
I missed you in Chicago. You're a busy man. No, that is what it is. But I'll be there for 2 days. Hopefully we link up, get a picture, get a bro hug. But yeah, super excited for that, baby.
That's amazing that you are making that investment. We'll see you at MSG, buddy, and we'll make our pay-per-view picks next week.
You got it, bud. I'll see you, boys. Have a good one.
There he is, Brian Petrie, with us for the Main Event Challenge and Place Your Bets. And thanks to all of you for indulging us over the last 2 hours or so live on the DraftKings Network or on YouTube. We are actually right back with you Sunday morning, November 9th. 6 days from now, we will do our UFC 322 preview. Some scheduling things going on. Got to get the show out before I head to New York City later Sunday night. And we are excited to bring that to you. So a complete recap before you watch your American football, if that applies. One final thought, Kenny, I just have to say.
Yes, sir.
To the Canadian sports fans and the Toronto Blue Jays fans, I'm fucking sorry. So
close.
As I sit here and look at this, New England Patriots World Championship banner from 2003, and I say this as a Boston sports fan who feels so grateful to have experienced. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, I was trying to explain to my daughter that 03 random banner is one of like double-digit championships that we've all had the chance to experience. And the Blue Jays were a millimeter away from beating the Dodgers in the World Series on any number of different occasions. And I just think for those people who are Toronto Blue Jays fans, Toronto Maple Leafs fans, yeah, the Raptors won it. But again, this is a Maple Leafs Blue Jays community. Some of them are Buffalo Bills fans. I feel for sports fans that have been starved, and I know you're all brokenhearted, and we feel for you, even though the in-division Boston Red Sox fan in me doesn't feel that bad for the Blue Jays fan. We feel for you. Oh my God, they can't fucking buy one.
Yeah, that was rough.
Anyway, yeah. All right. Thanks to Mean Machine Steve Garcia. Thanks to Ray Longo. Thanks to Jason Anik, Brian Petrie, and Cody Merrow. Thanks to Mike Jones as well. Will Berger on the team. And we're right back with you Sunday morning. Don't forget to check out the Anik and Florian Rewind as well in advance of UFC 322 over on UFC Fight Pass. With that, for Ken Flo, John Anik signing off for now. We'll talk to you in 6 days. Until then, you'll later.
Kenny Florian, I got him, baby. We did it. I love this shit.